Happy New Year, foodies, and welcome to the third episode of Cooking with Vincy's. This episode comes to you compliments Winfresh, ECGC, Carrez Distribution, and Asbert News Network. So, this is an episode that I have been looking forward to. I've been loving the compliments that we've been reading on the page. You've been letting us know what are the things we can do differently, what are the things that work for you, what are the things that your grandmother or your mother taught you, and we are just enjoying that to the max. So we started out with Chef Elena, who gave us a lovely spread. Then Chef Antonio, who gave us date night. And tonight I have a bit of a bias because I have a sweet tooth. So I'm going to introduce today's chef, Reisha John, who is going to give us the desserts that we're going to be tasting here tonight. And we have here with us Reisha John. So we're going to start with some small introductions. So tell us, the Vincentian people and the wider community, a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Reisha John. I am self-employed, owner of Bumble Delights, mother of two. Started my business about 8 years ago, officially. I went to girls' high school, did business management, then furthered my studies at the technical college, where I also did business management. And then I went on to the Barbados Community College, Hotel Pomerine, where I got my associate's degree in culinary arts.
Okay, so you have your degrees, but where did your cooking get started? Because I think I read somewhere, like many other Vincentians, that it starts at home.
Yes, it did. When I was at the age of about 14, my mom really started everything for me, as we all do, mommy start everything, so it happened by accident. And she just called me one day. She forgot to do a cake. I don't know if I should mention that, but she gave me the instructions, told me what to do. I did it. It came out perfectly fine. And everything went from there. The interest was there at all times. I continued baking in school. I used to carry like cakes and pizzas and so when I was in Form 3, Form 4. And it went on to technical college. And the rest is history.
And there we have it. Started in her own kitchen with her mother and it expanded.
Yes.
So tell us, because I'm already excited, what are we cooking?
So today we are going to do a coconut cake. Simple coconut cake. Didn't want to do anything too highfalutin for you today. Just keeping it simple.
So tell us, what are the ingredients that you're going to use?
Okay, so basics are going to be butter, where I mix it. I don't just use one butter. I mix glow spread and blue band together, half.
Okay.
And then we have 5 eggs, because it's 10 ounces of butter. So 5 eggs, 1/3 cup of diluted milk. I do not use evaporated milk straight. I dilute it. I have coconut essence. Then I have my ECGC flour, of course, baking powder, white sugar, and the coconut.
Okay.
So we're going to start by adding the eggs, which I crack one at a time. I like to do it this way. I've been doing it for years, where I crack it on the blender itself, and I have a tendency to smell it because I just want to make sure that they're good. Even though sometimes we may crack them in a bowl and they look pretty, they may have a tendency to still be on the bad side. So I'm going to crack 5 eggs. And they seem to be all good so far. Good. Making sure that we do not get any shells in there. Then we're going to add 1/3 cup of diluted milk, like I mentioned before. Then we're going to add our 10 ounces of butter, which is a combination of glow spread and blue band butter. Let me just discard of this. And then we're going to add 9 ounces of white sugar. I have a tendency to put 1 ounce less sugar than butter because we're all looking at our sugar levels now. So 9 ounces. And we're just going to blend this together until everything is nice and creamy and the sugar is completely dissolved. Okay, so that's all done. So we've finished blending our wet ingredients. And we're just going to add them to the mixing bowl. Of course, scraping down the mixing bowl to get everything out. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients, which is 12 ounces of flour and 2.5 tablespoons of baking powder. And what's going to make it coconut is that we're going to use a tablespoon of coconut essence. When all of this is mixed, then we're going to add in the raw coconut to give it that extra coconut flavor. So we're going to start this off on low. Just scraping down the sides to make sure that all the flour is incorporated. And we increase the speed. And we're going to leave it here for about 3 minutes and gradually reduce the speed until it's finished, completely mixed. We're going to look for a nice, creamy, fluffy texture. We don't want it to be too runny, and we can't overbeat it or it will get too hard. There's so many different things that can happen if you overbeat. It can get too hard, it can get too many air bubbles, it can also sink. So you have to know when to turn off your mixer.
Okay, so we talked about the ingredients. We have a very creamy batter right here. So can you take us through the process?
Okay, so let me do it really quickly. So we got the eggs, butter, milk, and sugar into the blender. Blended them really well until everything was dissolved, especially the sugar because we don't want any little grains of sugar in there. And then I got the dry ingredients and put it into the wet ingredients along with some essence, coconut essence of course, because it's a coconut cake we're doing. And we had it on the mixer for about 5 to 6 minutes. So now it's done, nice and creamy as you mentioned. We're going to add in the last ingredient, which is the coconut. This is about a cup of coconut. So we're going to fold in the coconut now. We're not going to beat it or whisk it or anything like that because the cake has already been beaten. So you don't want to overbeat anything. So we're just going to gently fold in the coconut into the mixture. Like I said, not too much because you really don't want to overbeat your batter. Some people say you can do it as a figure 8. It's not mandatory that you do, but just gently fold it in. And that's it. So instead of flouring my pans, I'm going to use what we call a cartouche.
Cartouche, that is quite a lovely word. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. A cartouche is basically a French word for a lid. I learned this at the Culinary Institute, the Hospitality Institute that I mentioned before that I went to. And I'm glad that you asked me that because this school has a special place in my heart, hence the reason why I'm wearing it today, because the person who taught me this passed away recently, and he was one of my favorite tutors, Mr. Rice. Yeah. And when I went to his class for the first time and I heard him talk about the cartouche, I was totally confused. And he made it look so easy and simple. And I tried it a couple times and I failed. But with practice, of course, like what a lot of you are going to do at home now, then it's going to become like 1, 2, 3, right? So basically, it is 2 pieces of parchment paper or cut right. Anyone can work. And I'm using 2 because it's 2 pans, 9-inch pans that we're using. And I'm just going to fold it in half. And then we're going to fold it in half again. Turn to that pointy edge right there. We're going to fold once and then come from the other end and fold and meet at that same point. And where we started, we're going to just fold it over one more time. And in order to get the correct size for the pan, you're just going to measure. Make sure the tip is to the center of the pan. If you want to bend it, you can bend it just to make sure.
So let's pay close attention because these are the small tips and tricks that make the cake.
So where you bent it, you're going to just take your scissors and cut across. You can discard of that piece. And there you have your cartouche. You're just going to line the bottom of the pan. And that is just going to prevent, of course, what the flour does, any burning or sticking to the pan. Simple. And then we're going to take our batter, just folding it a little bit again, seeing that we had it sitting there for a little bit.
So as you're folding, I noticed you would have used the blender. Is there a special reason why you used the blender?
Well, the blender is a little bit of a secret that I actually just let out tonight. It's from my mom, actually. When she taught me how to do it, like I told you, at 14, she told me about doing a blender. We're putting all the wet ingredients in there. Well, butter isn't wet, but butter is added to it. And I was like, what's that? I don't understand. But then when you do it, it goes really quickly. You don't have to wait on the whole creaming method with the mixer because we would have been here all night. So it's just a simpler, quicker way of doing cakes. And that's one of the reasons why I have my cakes done so fast.
And we spoke about the mixer and making sure it is blended in properly. Is there a specific amount of time that we should blend all our ingredients together?
In the blender or in the mixer?
In the mixer. When we move it from the blender and all the ingredients are now in the mixer.
It really all depends on how much mixture you use. Baking is very technical, and that's something I tell people all the time. It's not something that you just blink and it appears. If this was more, like let's say this was a pound mixture, it would have taken a little bit longer. But because it's just a 10 ounce, or even if you're doing 8 ounce mixture, it would take less time. So in this case, it just took about 5 to 6 minutes. We went to the highest speed, which is the cake speed, which is 6. And then you gradually move down to 4, then to 2, then to 1, just to finish off the whole process.
Okay.
So we're going to add the mixture, and let's do it evenly. Now, because I've been doing this for a while, not to brag, but I know exactly what I'm looking for. I can just lift the pans basically because I know the weight of the pans. I can just look at the mixture and can tell, okay, this one might have a little bit more than this one, which I can see right now. This one has a little bit more. But what you can do at home, if you're doing this for the first time, you get a scale. And when you already even out your batter, you can just spin it. If you don't want to spin it, you can just leave it central and just use your spatula and evenly distribute it around the pan. You can give the spatula to the little one if she's next to you.
And we know that's a tradition, guys.
Yes, it's a Caribbean
When we think about cake mixing, one of the things we have to think about is who's going to lick the bowl. So we're going to go to our taste testers a little bit later and see who fights for it.
So now, like I said, I can feel this, but like I said before, you can always weigh it to make sure that they're even. So if it's 2 pounds, each must have in 2 pounds. So we're gonna add this now to the oven, which has already been preheated to 375. And that's going to take about 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay, so we know a part of tradition here in St. Vincent and maybe many other places in the Caribbean and the rest of the world. Fighting over the bowl is a big part of the process. So we went out, we asked our tasters, and of course, Madzad won. We remember Madzad from our first episode. He came with the energy. So we're just gonna call him in for a little bit and let him tell us a little bit about this batter.
So you see good on hey.
Honest opinions.
There's some coconut that taste in here.
Yes,
Yes,
that's the coconut flakes.
I'm seeing little flakes here, getting a little taste of the flakes there, and you get a nice buttery vibe going on there, and a nice sugary vibe.
Balance.
When you add the heat to this, I think I might have to bring out the bowl again tonight. Yeah.
Alright, bowl is here again.
Yeah, I'll bring a bigger bowl.
So we're going to make the buttercream now for the coconut cake. And in this bowl, we have the diluted milk, like I mentioned before. We have almond essence. You can also use coconut essence if you wish to complement the coconut cake. And I have just glow spread butter this time. It's not mixed with Blue Band. And we're adding the Atlantic icing sugar, the 1 kg, just 1 pack of Atlantic icing sugar. We're just going to add that to the bowl. And then we're going to take it over to the mixer where we're going to do the buttercream. And we're going to do like we did with the cake. We're going to start off slowly because we don't want the powder to go all over the kitchen. So we're just gradually going to turn it on. Then as it's mixing, we're going to turn it a bit higher and get it to the highest speed. Where we're going to get a very fluffy, creamy buttercream.
So we know there's always some camera tricks involved in the process. So tell us, how do we get to this point?
So the cakes are done. They took 30 to 35 minutes to finish. You can cool it on your cooling racks, whether you just want to leave it out on the island, let the natural air cool it, or you can actually put it in your cooler, your blast chiller, whatever you have, your refrigerator, and it cools in less than 15 minutes. Then you put it together. You can put your filling in the middle, which we made here, which is a almond buttercream.
Yes.
Now you can do coconut, saying you're doing a coconut cake, or you can put any flavoring at all, strawberry, rum and raisin, anything that you like. So I put it in the middle and put them together, even them off, but they were even already, so we didn't have to do any of that. And I crumb coated it. Crumb coating is just basically giving it a layer of icing, a very thin layer of icing before actually putting on all of the decoration, to just do that, to get rid of all the crumbs. So when you're icing the cake, you're not going to have those crumbs coming out in that decoration because we don't want that.
So if you've ever been on the Instagram page for Bumblebee Delight 784 and we've seen all these fancy cakes, this is going to give us a behind the scenes of how that cake is put together. So tell us a little bit about the ingredients that we have here, and then we're going to go through with you the process of putting it on the cake, positioning it right, all the small details.
Okay, this was actually one of my favorites. After posting it, a lot of people asked about it. So we have the toasted coconut, which is just going to highlight that coconut flavor even more. We're going to put that on the sides and just a little bit to the top. And then this ice cream cone, yes, an ice cream cone. We're going to put that, placing it very neatly. Here, I'll show you in a while. And then we're going to fill that ice cream cone with all these goodies. We have grapes, cherries, kiwi, chocolate, Hershey's, a variety of chocolates, to be honest. Now, sometimes I use strawberries and different fruits because strawberries are very, very popular and very, very often demanded by customers. But we don't have any strawberries at the moment. So we try to mix the colors to make it look very pretty. So hence the reason we have the purples and the red and the green just to complement each other. All right. So I like to start at the sides. So we're just going to cover up all of this. Now, because we're going to have the coconut added on to the sides, we don't have to put a very heavy coating of buttercream. If we were going to do a different design, then we would have to put on more buttercream and then we can just gradually take it off.
Okay.
So we're just going to lightly coat that. If you wish to use a spatula, you can. You want to use a knife. That's how I started out actually, using a basic butter knife. And then, as you get into it, you realize that certain things can be used. And over time, culinary tools have been introduced and there's such a wide variety now. The variety is endless.
So we're hearing it here first. There is no specific way that you should do this. You just make it your own, and eventually you will get it as you would like it to be.
In this case, we don't even have to do it that smooth because once again, it's going to be covered by the coconut.
Yeah.
So we just bring this, just spread it all around the top.
This is looking delicious. Ready to taste this cake.
And you're just going to bring in from the edges. Again, like I say, you could make it your own. You don't have to be perfect in this case because majority of this cake is going to be covered. And what I like to do as well, I like to take off as much icing as possible because I have a lot of customers who request very little icing. Because right now, naked cakes, I don't know if you've heard about it, but naked cakes are very, very popular.
Yeah.
Which is basically, I can scrape off about half of this icing so that you can start seeing the cake. Some people get scared when they see the cake and want to know, why am I seeing cake? But that's why it's called a naked cake.
And we're getting to a very health conscious place where we're mindful of our sugar intake.
Okay. So again, you could just come around the edges. In this case, like I said, you don't necessarily have to because the coconut is going to cover that. But where the icing, you're going to see some of the icing, you just want to smooth that out a little bit, which is just going to be in the center, really. And of course, you clean your edges. You never leave your cake boards like that. You can use a paper towel. You can use a damp cloth. Anyone that you wish to use.
So always keep your cake tight.
Always. So we're going to use this toasted coconut, which we did before, of course. You just can put it in a small pan like this. This is not a sheet pan. A sheet pan will be a longer pan. That's if you're going to be doing a lot of coconut. But in this case, it's just a little bit. And you can put it on very low heat. Sometimes I have a tendency to put it on just about 250 so that it takes its time evenly. Because if you put it on high, then it's going to burn really quickly because coconut has that sugar. This is sweetened coconut.
Is it hand grated?
No, this is store-bought. Yes, yes. We had to just make the process a little faster. So we're going to take this coconut. You can do this two ways. You can just use your hands and just gradually move it up to the top because we're going to carry it around the edges. Or what some people do, you actually take the cake off of the cake board. It would have been firm because it would have been in the fridge. And you can put your coconut on a piece of parchment paper or Cutter and roll it in the coconut. But because we're not going to do that right now, this is just another way that's easy for most people to do. And as you're going up, you just gradually pat it in all the way around. Now you're going to have a little bit of mess, but that's expected.
It's expected.
You know?
Are you really cooking if there's not a mess?
Exactly. If you want to just gradually clean hair off as you go along, I'm just showing you like how I do it at home. No secrets here. This is the reality. This is how we do it at home.
So there we have it, quick and easy.
Yes. So we just go around, right around. Where you see the little spaces there that may need some more, you can always just come back and fill it in. But you have to do this really quickly because if you leave it for too long, then the buttercream is going to dry and then the coconut is not going to stick. And then you're going to have to do the buttercream all over again in order to get it to stick. And just like that, the sides are finished. So we're going to take off the excess. You can use your finger. It's clean. My hands are washed. Or if you would like, you want to use a spoon, you can just take it off with a spoon or even the spatula. Just make sure that base is clean. And then you just gradually add some more to the top. Because in this case, I am not going to use a border with buttercream. I'm just going to use the coconut as my border to eliminate the amount of icing that we use. Because we have enough sweet in the base of the cake already. And we have enough sweet in the coconut. And like I said, wherever you see any spaces in between, you can just fill them in. Pat it in as you go along. At this stage, what I do sometimes, I put it in the fridge just to foam up a little bit more. But we can just go ahead and continue doing the process. So what I basically do is just take the ice cream cone. I just like to place it at this angle. You're just going to place it at the angle. And there is no particular way of how to put your fruits and your chocolates. You're just going to fill up the ice cream cone. So if you want to start with the grapes, you can. Elike, if you wish to join me, that's not a problem. And you can just put some in there. I have white chocolate. I have dark chocolate. I have milk chocolate. Again, white chocolate, which is a favorite. And we have Hershey's, we have the little Bobbies, and even the Oreo cookies. You can just make this your own. Break these. Like I said, there's no particular fashion in which you have to put them. If you'd like to see the finished product, you can go on my Instagram page, Bumblebee Delight 784, and this cake is right there for viewing. You can leave it in the paper. You can take it out of the paper. Some people like to see it in because it gives it that extra color. So you have the silver if you want to take it out to look like the other chocolates. But I think I'm going to keep it in just for the color purpose. You can use any white chocolate that you have available. And we're just going to break them up. No particular size, nothing at all. You can even have your children involved in this. If you have children, like I have 2 girls, and they love these kind of things, especially my 6-year-old. She likes the mess. She likes the fact that it's not any particular shape, size, anything, and she can basically make a mess.
And there we
and
go.
It still looks
That's
good.
how the tradition continues.
Correct.
You watched your mother, now they're looking at you.
Exactly. So we're just going to leave it there. But normally I would put more decor, right? And then to the bottom, I'm just going to do a simple piping. This is just a simple white Wilton piping bag. And it's a 1M piping tip. And some people like to say a star tip. Make it easier for you. It's just, and this is one of the basic ways we started out learning how to pipe. And we just go all around the base. like I said,
There
you
we
can
have
add
it.
you can add more.
So it's our coconut cake.
Let's just add a little bit more chocolate in there. My personal preference are the strawberries, but that's just me.
And you can make it your own if you're making it. Fruits that you like, chocolate flavors that you like. There's a little bit of everything in here. I know some people prefer dark chocolate to the milk, so whatever works for you, you just pop it on there.
Yes.
And here we have it, our coconut cake, looking quite beautiful. So as per usual, we have taste testers. So we're just going to cut it and then we're going to invite our tasters to let us know how delicious this cake is tasting. So we're going to learn one last thing because I notice you have a cup of hot water. So let us know what's happening there.
So basically with the hot water, every time we make a cut, we're going to dip it in the hot water and just clean the knife. It just gives the cake a nice clean cut every time. So we don't have to start it off in the hot water. We're just going to do this first.
So just to distract you while you cut a little bit, how many cakes would you say you bake per week?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. Because they vary. They vary. Sometimes on a daily basis, I make sometimes 6 cakes, sometimes 10.
It's a lot of cake.
Depending, especially around Christmas time, you might not believe me, but I actually made 50 in one day.
Wow.
For Christmas.
It's a lot.
And that was no sleep. Absolutely no sleep.
Okay.
But yes, on average, I do like about 6 a day.
Okay. And gentle reminder, she doesn't just do cake, so make sure you check out her page to see what other delights you can get from Bumblebee Catering.
You're going to have a little mess here with the coconut. This is a big slice. So we have
slice number 1. Lovely slice.
Excuse me. Before this angle.
There we have it. Okay, so we are here with taster number 1.
That's me.
And this is a coconut cake. So you're going to give it a taste and let us know.
All right, so you had me at coconut. So let's go in. Yeah? So this is not without coconut. It's all the way through.
So tasting the coconut.
Okay. This is really delicious.
There you have it.
It's moist, flavorful. Definitely coconut cake.
Definitely. Compliments.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
And we're here with taster number 2. So this is the coconut cake made by Chef Reisha. So give us a taste and let us know.
I must say, all this coconut shavings looks good. Great job.
Okay, so we have a great job.
Yes, this is delicious. It is nice, soft. You could see from the look of it, it looks soft. The icing, the coconut shavings, it's good, it's good. Do you want to taste?
All right, there we have it. So we're moving forward to taste tester number 3, and this is the moment of truth because we know if it's one thing Magzat is not going to do is lie to us, and I saved him the biggest slice. All right, and we have taster number 3. Magzat, what's in this bag? What is in this bag? It better not be the Frisco bowl. Quick
I don't know.
question: can you bake?
I could make bakes.
He
That
could.
count?
Fair enough. Fair enough. So you're gonna dive in.
Yes, I'm gonna taste my cake here. I'm gonna taste.
No, you're tasting this
Oh,
one.
this one.
This.
Oh.
I saved you
So
the
that's
biggest slice. No,
that's the biggest slice. Okay.
This
all right,
one.
Okay. So I gotta taste this lovely. Was it coconut?
Coconut
Well,
cake.
I had the butter earlier on.
So tell us, does it match up?
Well, I can tell you now. Mm.
We have a
Mhm.
another
Right. So I'm getting all the coconut and thing. Whilst what I like is when I taste the butter earlier on, compared to now, it's not as sweet, which is good. I got more sugar
in
in the butter, so I was expecting more sweetness, but this sugar is very good.
balance.
Yes, I was kind of wondering if the sweetness, I'm not a big sugar guy, me all, but this is good. This is good. Let me get some of the frosting then. See, we're going on with the frosting. Reisha?
That's a thumbs up.
My God, the cake cannot hold in that bowl. It can't hold.
No, this is not for this and this is for that.
That can't hold in there. That can't hold.
Okay, well.
All right. And there you have it. Taster number 3 approves. It's Frisco bowl approved. So we're gonna slice it up and make sure he gets just a little bit more, just a little bit, because I want some as well to take home with him. Okay, so there we have it, guys. Coconut cake compliments.
Bumblebee Delights.
So give us all your information. If we wanted to order a cake like this, who do we contact? Where can we look for other designs? Tell us.
Okay, so my name is Reisha John. My business name is Bumblebee Delights 784 on Instagram. It's also the same on Facebook. You can contact me on WhatsApp or directly at 455-2908 or 456-1372. I'm located at Sharpsdale. All cake orders are done to order only. They're not just made and placed there waiting for order.
Fresh out the oven.
Yes.
There we have it, guys. Thank you for joining us for our 3rd episode of Cooking with Vincy's, where we did a sweet treat, this coconut cake. Remember, guys, always support local. And again, we want to come in and thank our sponsors, ECGC, Winfresh, Carez Distribution, and Asbert News Network. And join us for the next episode.